Right, yeah, so that's where I start, and that's kind of like a framework. And so what I've been doing for the past year is once I get that framework, like I like to plan my entire site like structure out before I even start a site. So I'll have like maybe my top level categories, and then I'll get like 100 to 150 article topics before I even start anything. Now, I start out obviously on Ahrefs, getting most of those from what the people are already ranking for. And then I see like, where can I go from here? How can I build this out or even go deeper into whatever they've covered? So.
Okay. And what breakdown do you have for informational versus product reviews? And assume it really depends on how you're monetizing the site, but just in a general sense.
For this new site I've started, it's actually going to be a little different for me because it's going to be 100% informational, which obviously will be good for display ads because I found it on the AdThrive list. What I found interesting though, which is why I decided to go into this particular niche, is the person who is on AdThrive that I got inspired by, they don't have any info products. They're not monetizing it any other way other than ads. And pretty much immediately I was like, well, there's definitely at least 2 info products I can create. I could probably also create a course in addition to the display ads because I'm not starting any sites these days where I can't have multiple streams of income. So
Yeah, that's big for me too, especially with the digital product area where the margins are higher, so affiliates can pay, or they could pay affiliates a lot more. So that's pretty cool. Moving on to the content area, how do you get so much written? It sounds like, you come up with at least 150 topic ideas. So what's the process to get that published?
well, I actually have an undergrad degree in English, and I used to be a freelance writer back when I was having no success with sites, more than a decade ago. So I write a lot of my own content, but I'm at the point where I don't have to if I don't want to. So I only write the things that interest me, and then I'll outsource the rest. Sometimes I use Writer Access, although after a terrible experience I had today, I'm going to stop doing that. I've been using word agents a lot lately. I've used them off and on for a few years. They're really good. They have higher rates than a lot of other affiliate marketers want to pay, but I've never had any problems with their work. I used to use Upwork, but I've kind of gotten away from that because I get better quality stuff from word agents.
All right. Do they publish directly into WordPress for you, or do you do the drafting?
I do it myself. I think they do offer that, though, if you want to pay more. But I'm kind of a control freak, so I'd rather do it myself.
All right. Do you find that you're the bottleneck because they're able to write? There's so many more writers than
Yeah,
the.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
So how do you manage that from, you have so many sites, right? I'm just imagining the stress that I would feel personally knowing that I was the bottleneck and there's like potentially,
Right.
a dozen sites waiting for content from me. So how do you manage that?
Well, I mean, it's actually something I constantly kind of struggle with and get stressed out about. But then I'm like, well, okay, I'll outsource it to someone and I'll let them handle it. And that doesn't last very long for me because, like I said, I'm a control freak. So I'll go back to doing it all myself. For myself, with so many sites, what I found is to kind of work on my sites as like a rotation. So, I'll start some new sites and then I'll work on them real hard for a quarter or so. Then I'll just kind of put them on the back burner to age. And then I'll move on to 5 new sites. I try to only work on 5 sites at a time. So,
Okay, and that's manageable. It probably gives you some variety too. Once you get a little
yeah,
bored, you always have something else you can move into. Cool.
exactly, exactly.
Any other notable things on content, templates that you use, or the way that you format the content?
The only thing that I do is before any content, whether I'm writing it or I outsource it, is I create basically an outline for it, which is going to be all of my H2s or my H3s or whatever. So if I'm outsourcing it, when I give it to a writer, I'm like, they're going to be your categories. Don't change them. Make each section what I tell you, and this is that way I get exactly what I want without any kind of fluff. So otherwise, you never know what you're going to get from people.
Oh yeah. For link building, what's the approach to link building? I know you've seen so much in the decade. SEO moves so fast, so it's shifted to something completely different now. So how are you approaching link building at this point?
I have one site that is a test site that is powered completely by PBNs and crushing it. So that obviously is still killing it for people who want to do it. My main link building is actually HARO because I'm lazy and I don't want to spend the money on paying for links. I also use knobs, the knobs.link which is an Australia link building agency. I use them a lot too. They're kind of like authority builders, but their prices are a little cheaper and they're a little more transparent. Like you see the URLs. So I really like using them as well. And
Okay.
I do some of my own outreach, but I'm lazy, like I said, and I used to have someone that I paid to do it for me, but these days it's just keeping it simple with HARO mostly.
Okay. And for the PBNs, as private blog networks,
Mhm.
for people that don't know, that's typically classified as gray hat. Google doesn't like those links or a little riskier. How are you getting those links? Are you outsourcing it? Do you have your own network? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I during the height of PBNs, I had over 200 of them in my own network. Managing them is quite a pain in the ass, as I'm sure you probably know. So what I'm doing now is I'm just renting the links from Rank Club, which used to be Diggity Links.
Okay. Yep. And I didn't have a network that big. I think I had something like 100 and then 100 different sites. And then I was like, after a few penalties, I moved on. So it was too much work and I didn't feel like trying to figure it out.
Well, it's also
So
expensive if you're making the PBNs look like real sites that are going to get hit. So you've got all that content, and yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
yeah.
You have to be
And then if
really dedicated to it.
Yeah. And I mean, I have mentioned, I try not to talk about it too much, but yeah, when people ask, I'm like, it still works, but you have to go down the rabbit hole and then either manage it really well on your own
Yeah,
or, work with people that know what they're doing. So
yeah.
now you said it was just one test site that you're, just trying to keep the
Mhm.
pulse on what's going on with the edge of SEO, I guess.
Right, yeah. Just like I kind of had test sites all the time. Like I have another test site where I've just sent like 8301 redirects to it just to see what it's going to do. It's doing fine right now. It's not like having an amazing success like you see people talking about in SEO groups, but we'll see.